Welcome. We are deliberating about the value of Code of Criminal Procedure. Today, I invite Dr. Mr. Kapoor deliberating to initiate the deliberating of Code of Criminal Procedure.
Thank you. Code of Criminal Procedure, as we had seen in the previous session, is a very big code. It is exhaustive. It runs over as many as 37 chapters. The range of sections is 1 to 484, and there are two schedules. First schedule, which is the point of focus of attention focus in this session. The second schedule lists the 50, as many as 56 forms in which the processes, orders, and other information is to be officially communicated. The first schedule is titled Classification of Offences. As we know that the Code of Criminal Procedure is an act to consolidate and amend the provisions with respect to the procedure, criminal procedure. The criminal procedure as it is be taken all the procedural steps which are lawfully sanctioned make a domain of the procedure. Substantive law in this context is the offences enlisted in Indian Penal Code and other codes. The procedural law is as is enshrined in different provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure. The justice is ultimately is delivered in the form of the final judgments of the court, and it amounts to at the end of completion of the trial, and all the stages of the trial come within the domain of the procedure. The basic aim of the procedure is to enlist steps in which the trial is to progress. By trial, we mean the investigations, inquiries, trials, and all other aspects of the procedure as well, including the revisions, the appeals, and other aspects. The first feature of this procedure is to have a classification of the offenses. The classification of offenses, as is tabulated in first schedule, is under 6 heads, and these 6 heads are: number 1 is the section of the code. The second is the provision as it is. Then it gives us the sentence aspect of the particular offense. Then it is cognizable aspect. By cognizable, here at this stage be taken the power of the police in respect of these offenses. Then the aspect is regarding it being bailable or non-bailable. The context here of bailable and non-bailable as well be taken in a restrictive sense, as bailable offences have been made one class and non-bailable offences is the another class. So the offences are being classified with respect to the powers of the police. Further, with respect to the bailable aspect, which is step ahead when we will go deeper into the different meanings, the context in which the word bailable will come in, the powers to grant bail. At this aspect, it simply be taken that bailable offences is a class in which the police also can take a bail. The powers of the police to take bail is being classified, but this is not the precise definition. Therefore, at this stage, the word bailable or non-bailable be not attached any meanings to imply the right to get a bail or not in respect of the particular offense, and it also shall at this stage be even not implied whether the bail can be granted by the police or not. So the bail aspect of the offense as such, as far as this classification here is concerned, is of no precise answer. It simply makes two classes. So we can say that first schedule is classifying the offenses under two different groups, two different classes. One class is of bailable offenses, other class is non-bailable offenses. So the cognizable and non-cognizable is one class, one classification. One way to classify the offenses as per first schedule is with respect to the cognizability or non-cognizability. The second is the bailable or non-bailable. And the third is the powers of the court or the court in which the trial will take place. So there are three distinct features in terms of which the offenses are being classified regarding trial court, regarding bailable or non-bailable nature, regarding cognizable and non-cognizable nature. The other information here in the schedule is simply a summary, simply a reference with respect to the section of the code, Indian Penal Code, the substantive law, and the punishment which is provided in that particular section. Here, for the present purposes, the more focus is to remain upon the court in which the case is to be tried, the bailable class or non-bailable class of the offense, cognizable and non-cognizable nature of the offense. This schedule, this first schedule, is of two parts. The first part covers the offenses under Indian Penal Code. The second part covers all other offenses of all other codes, all other acts. So if an offense under Electricity Act is to be reached at for its classification, then for it we have to refer to part 2. The part 2 as well is titled Classification of Offences Against Other Laws. The first part of the first schedule is designated as Classification of Offences under Indian Penal Code. The part second is Classification of Offences Against Other Laws, means all other laws, any offense under any law other than the Indian Penal Code is to be tested for the classification in terms of the table of part 2 of the first schedule. See, the classification here in part 2 is more in terms of the punishment of the offense. The three categories are punishable with death or imprisonment for life or imprisonment for more than 7 years. So the offenses under acts other than Indian Penal Code are classified in three categories. The first category is of offenses in which the punishment is more than 7 years, including life imprisonment and death. So one class of the offenses under acts other than Indian Penal Code is that set of offenses for which the punishment provided is death, life imprisonment, or up to more than 7 years. The second category of offenses under other acts is punishable with imprisonment for 5 years and upwards, but not more than 7 years. So the category now is made that the offenses for which the punishment is between the range of 5 years to 7 years. So offenses for which punishment is provided up till 5 years but not more than 7 years is the second category of offenses. And the third is in which the punishment is less than 5 years or up till 5 years. So up till 5 years, 5 years to 7 years, and 7 years life and death. These are three categories. Therefore, this classification of part 2 of first schedule regarding classification of offenses against other laws is offenses being made in three categories. The first category of offenses up to 5 years, second category up to 5 to 7 years, third is more than 7 years, life including life and death. Then the three classifications, cognizable or non-cognizable, bailable or non-bailable, and the court, the court in which the offense is to be tried. So all offenses in acts other than Indian Penal Code are of three categories, and for each category there are three classifications: cognizable or non-cognizable, bailable or non-bailable, and the court in which the offense is to be tried. As such, this schedule is not leading to any specific feature of investigation, inquiry, trial, or any other aspect, except that it gives us a classification. It gives a classified feature for the offense. It is in terms of this classification that we shall be approaching the provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure to ascertain as to what is going to be the trial procedure, what is going to be the rights and duties while we will be arguing for bails, and when we will be appreciating the role of the police. So the role of the police under the category of cognizable and non-cognizable, the rights of the accused or all persons concerned regarding the bail and the actual determination of the forum, the court in which the offense is going to be tried. Chapter 1, preliminary chapter, as we of the Code of Criminal Procedure, as we have seen, determines essential preliminary features about the name of the code, the commencement of the code, the area in which it is operative, and the steps which will be covered as a law of procedure, means investigations, inquiries, trials, and all other connected aspects of the procedure. So Schedule 1, together with the preliminary provisions, though are simple, informative in nature, though these informative provisions have appear having no direct impact upon the actual investigations, inquiries, trials, or other connected aspects. But nevertheless, in terms of these provisions, the limitations, duties, responsibilities of the concerned authorities taking the steps of investigations, inquiry, trial, the place of the trial, etc., will be determined in terms of these provisions. Therefore, while we will be preparing our referencer, we shall make a specific note that each of the offense of the Indian Penal Code is specified in the first schedule itself. Now, when I look at that, the first offense which is mentioned in the first schedule is under section 109. So, when we will be dealing with, when we will be appreciating, when we will be confronted with the offense under section 109, then the aspects as to the punishment provided for it, whether it is cognizable or not, whether it is bailable or not, and in which court this offense is going to be tried. This information will be available to us only when we refer to the classification of first schedule regarding section 109 of the Indian Penal Code. Like this, every offense under Indian Penal Code has been serially, sequentially tabulated here in the first schedule, part 1. So part 1 of the first schedule of the Code of Criminal Procedure is enlisting, is tabulating the classification features for each and every offense, beginning with section 109. Therefore, the need for each one of us at every stage will be that we shall be face to face with the legislative classification being made with respect to the particular offense. So, for example, if we come to the offense under section 110, then we will refer the relevant provisions, relevant legislative confirmative orders, legislative commands in this section 110. The first column will give the punishment, second will tell us about the punishment provided, the next will be regarding its cognizability or not, next will be regarding the bailable or non-bailable aspect, and finally it will be with respect to the court in which this offense is going to be tried. This information will certainly to be viewed in the context of the preliminary information as to in which area this offense is to be tried, the date from which this particular procedure has come into operation in that particular area. Therefore, when a client will come before a lawyer and when it will come to the notice that he is going to be investigated, inquired or put to trial, or there is going to be any other feature for the criminal procedure, then certainly the preliminary information as the area in which the offense has been committed, in the date of commencement of the procedural act in that particular area is a prerequisite information. In the light of that prerequisite information, then this classification features of that particular offense will be noticed. And once we will have a clear picture of these features with respect to the particular offense, then certainly we will look for the relevant provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure for all the further steps. So in a referencer, the need is that we shall have proper reference of these classification features of the offenses. And then the category as it is going to be that the Indian Penal Code offenses is a one class as part 1 of the first schedule, and all other offenses are going to be determined as per part 2 classification of the first schedule. Now, on the face of it, it looks very simple. It looks is all right. However, when we will be confronted with a large degree of offenses, a very big range of offenses under Indian Penal Code, and when more than one offense is subject matter of investigation, inquiry, trial, or other aspects, then this classification, as it is going to be, is to be viewed from the point of view of the most serious offense amongst that category. For example, if there is an offense of murder as well as of some injuries to some persons, then for that offense, the classification features are to be kept in mind of the severest offense of a murder. So it will be in the context of the murder that we have to plan, we have to take steps. So this situation of there being only one offense at one stage will be a very rare situations. In all realistic situations, always there will be more than one, and in many cases even maybe a very large number of sections which will come into operation simultaneously. So in that context, we have to keep in our mind that the severest punishment offense is to be taken for the classification from the point of view of the trial. So these features of the trial, these features of bailable and non-bailable aspect, cognizable or non-cognizable aspects will get centered around the offense for which the biggest punishment is provided. In this background and in this context, we have to appreciate the offenses. So the first schedule as such is the first chart which we must always have on our table while we will be determining, while we will be planning our practical steps in respect of the procedure to be operative during the stages through which our client is to pass through. Okay, so now I put that let us continue our deliberation. Let us share our views. Yes, Subhash.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
The first schedule, which comprise of two section, one is offense under Indian Penal Code, and another is classification offense
Yes,
against other laws.
there are two.
Yeah. So, what are these other laws, sir? Do we have any list available where we can say that these are the other laws other than IPC?
See, this is a general code that any law passed at any point of time making substantive offenses but not providing for the procedure in that particular enactment, then there should not remain a vacuum. This part 2 of first schedule in a way is a complementary and supplementary provision to cover that there does not remain vacuum at any point of time. So
Sir, in present situation, I'm just asking a hypothetical question, sir.
yes,
In present situation, do we have any other law other than IPC which has an imprisonment life, which has the imprisonment of life and imprisonment for even more than 7 years?
many, you
Like,
know, like you see, even in the acts,
and NDPS.
NDPS 61 Act, you see, even in the economic offenses, different category of the situations
Okay.
have been dealt with by different laws.
Okay, now I got a hint. Like for example, POSCO or NDPS or
And
EOW.
large number of
So,
it.
so
See,
these actually are not covered under IPC, but these are separate from IPC under different requirements.
number one, if for some reason some legislation is not covering all the procedural aspects, so there should not remain a vacuum. So common procedure code stands made for all the offenses, but if the particular act enshrines its own procedure, then that procedure will be there. Let us go through section 4 again. This part 2 of section 4 is very specific, and it points out that if offenses under any other law shall be investigated, inquired into, tried, and otherwise dealt with according to the same provisions, but subject to an enactment for the timing and force, regulating the manner or place of investigating, inquiring into, trying, or otherwise dealt with such offenses. Means it is that this is the common procedure legislated once to cover all offenses, may it be under Indian Penal Code or may it not be under Penal Code, and it may be under, say, even Electricity Act or maybe under any of the acts. But if the procedure is provided in that particular act, then naturally that procedure will be applicable. But if there is no procedure for simply some offense is created, then for its trial, the criminal procedure will be as is provided here in this section. Yes.
Like for example, for example, sir, like we have many acts like TADA. We have TADA, which may not be
very large number, maybe hundreds and hundreds. Each state has its different laws. They continue.
Which means that this classification number 2 is general by it is covering a wider aspect of any other act which is not covered under IPC.
Yes, question only is, let there not be vacuum. If any offense is
Okay.
created, then there should remain a power with the courts. For example, the offenses up to 5 years are to be tried by, say, magistrate. Then magistrate shall not say that I don't have a power. This is vesting the powers in the trial courts as well. We need not make different courts for different acts in different states. So it becomes a common judiciary. So it's a institutional arrangement vesting with the
Sir, sir, can we, in continuation of that, maybe not directly related to this, can we have some idea on what are basically the top maybe 10, 20 acts which we should always keep in mind, and keep those copies of those acts with us for our references? For example, as I mentioned, that NDPS is one, TADA is one, POSCO is one, SABI is one.
I put it otherwise. Any act which provides punishment, which provides trial, which makes an offense, is to be provided for cover of the procedure by this Code of Criminal Procedure, unless and until that very act has certain classes or certain conditions or certain procedural laws. With respect to the bail, some acts provide. With respect to the power of the police also is provided in some of the acts. So if you list, if you want, we can list it. It's very easy that we will make all acts providing punishments, declaring offenses. There's a large, entire. So you say it will come to be more than 100, more than 500 in some aspects. So it is actually, you take it. It is the wisdom that we shall create a common institution, a common procedure, always available, so that there does not remain any vacuum. And each time we have not to think that there is a vacuum and how to vest powers again, how to create the new courts, how to create the new machineries. It is just from that point of view. Primarily, it is a procedure for Indian Penal Code. Simultaneously, it is provided as an ideal framework which will be applicable for all the offenses unless and until those particular special acts are having their special procedures.
Sir, why this section is starting from 109? Why not from 1?
Yes,
For example,
this is what we say. We have to look to the IPC which offense is provided. Is there any offense which is provided up till 1 to 108?
Yeah.
So that is why. That is why I say that first schedule it deserves to be revisited time and again as an exhaustive enlistment of classification of all offenses under IPC. So
basically in IPC, if I see the acts, one is the section 1 says title and extent of the operation of the code. Number 2, punishment of offense committed within India. Number 3, punishment of offense committed beyond but which are by law may be tried within India. Number 4, extension of code.
You see, those are the procedural steps. Those are the preliminary things to determine which is going to be the offense, where it is to be tried, which court is to try, which police is to investigate, and all those connected aspects, whether during trial one will have a bail or not, one will remain in judicial custody or otherwise. There are many large number of aspects. For that purpose, this classification has been made. It still is a broad classification. There will be sub-classification within it, but for it we have to be through the different provisions. So tomorrow we shall be looking at second schedule. As second schedule gives a particular forms in which the processes, notifications, communications, etc. are to be made as per permissible procedure under the Code of Criminal Procedure. So we shall know specifically that in which form the particular process, particular application, particular steps are to be taken in compliance with the sanctioned procedure. So these forms as well are sanctioned stipulations under the Code of Criminal Procedure.
Sir, tomorrow
Tomorrow
it's
means
Sunday. And
tomorrow means Monday. Tomorrow means Monday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow means Monday.
Yeah.
Sir, in 109 there is mention according to the offense abetted is bailable or non-bailable. There is no clarity bailable or whether
It's a
bailable.
clarity. If the offense for which this abatement is there, then these features will be determined as per the offense for which this abatement is there. So abatement is connected with the offense for which this abatement is. So abatement is an offense, but it is connected with the main offense for which this abatement is there. So the punishment also is graded as per the punishment of the main offense. That is why I say this schedule is the first information which shall be on our table, and we have to be thoroughly through it, as it is in terms of it that we will be having real practical procedural steps for the relief we require. These are to
And
be
in
followed.
and in the next column, which code tried is in this column there is mentioned code by which offense is abetted is tried.
Very simple. You have to be through what is abatement. Abatement is with respect to a particular offense. So all those features of the main offense stand attracted here. This is what is to be learned. This is what to be seen. This is what to be observed. We have to be through it. It is to be appreciated. That is why we are taking, we started the definition, and the very first definition we have shifted to schedule, because that is subject to the context. So here all those things are subject to the context, but these are specified, these are legislated, and these are compartmentalized. So once these have been compartmentalized as legislative classifications, we have to follow it. We have to honor. We have to be through it. When we're coming to the offense, say of abatement of actual trial proceedings, then we'll reach at that. And when we come to the IPC, the substantive law, when we'll come to the ingredients of each offense, it is at that phase and stage we will have more appreciation about it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.